All right, guys, so today we did chest workout, chest and some delts and some triceps. So for today's workout, Dallas gave me essentially free reign, or he said just come in, just whatever you want to do, we'll do. And knowing ahead of time, Dallas's shoulder has been pretty good, but kind of just a little bit aware of it's kind of on and off, having a little bit of issues with it. So trying to do some stuff, hopefully that obviously could, hit his chest. And I already had a heavy day. You have a heavy day either this week or you're going to have a heavy day still? Going to have a heavy pressing. So he has a day where he definitely has lots of really heavy pressing, heavy benching. So if anything today, hitting a couple different movements. So we started with kind of, for lack of a better word, like a little pre-exhaust, a high cable kind of incline fly. I call it maybe like a guillotine fly, where basically you're just aligning your upper arm and the cable with the very upper fibers of your chest. Because at the end of the day, no human being can have too much upper chest. And again, starting with a cable, kind of a little bit of a pre-exhaust, loading that muscle in a little bit more of a shortened position. Don't need a whole lot of weight, and hopefully just get the chest feeling good and a good pump going. Again, without having to use a whole lot of load and having to tax the shoulder too much yet. Then from there we went to a hammer strength incline press, and just kind of worked up to really one all-out set on that one. Nothing super fancy there, just honestly felt good, and just did a working set. We're both like, okay, that was enough. Did a couple 4 reps on that one. And again, for Dallas, I think we kind of ran out of room for plates on that one. So just some pretty high reps for a working set, which can be pretty brutal. Right from there we went to a low incline dumbbell press, and same thing, a couple warm-up sets, and then we did 2 kind of all-out working sets on those. So we did a little bit of a heavier set. I think Dallas did the 160s and then dropped down to the 140s, and same thing, took those all the way at least 2 or 3 reps past failure for each one. On the side note, that angle just worked really well for Dallas. We kind of talked a little bit at the end of the day. What part of your chest you're training has a lot more to do with where your upper arm path is, more so than the incline of the bench. And then just as important, if not more important, is making sure that we don't have other stuff working. So when we're looking at stuff for Dallas, a big concern is, because his front delts are so big, is making sure we're keeping his front delts out of it. So honestly, we talk about maybe like a 15-degree incline. Actually kind of fits even better possibly for his upper chest than maybe even a 30 or 40-degree incline, and also worked great at keeping his front delts out of it. And like I said, aligned very well with his upper chest. So like I said, we did 2 working sets from there, and then we finished with a kind of another high incline Converging chest press. And honestly, the machine that Dallas picked and just said feels great, and I haven't used it in a long time, but honestly just felt amazing. So it's just a really nice machine too, because it's locked in, pretty stable at that point in time, and really takes the chest through a pretty full range of motion. That's the advantage of like a converging machine, is it actually lets you get a little bit more of a contraction or a little bit more shortened pick than even like a barbell or some other machines. So I think we did 2 or 3 working sets on that one, and again, just felt great. Took them pretty much all the way to fatigue. And then we went into some delt work for Dallas. So again, delts being fairly dominant for Dallas. We just want to do some stuff that's fairly dense. So dense meaning like something like supersets work great. Anecdotally, shoulders I think just respond very well to more dense work. So a little bit higher reps and a lot of work in a short period of time. So we did a different superset for front delts. And again, just one that kind of loads the delt where a lot of people don't train it in a more shortened position. Supersetted with like an incline front raise. The advantage of that, aside from loading it where it's lengthened, anyone that's ever done front raises before, lots of times you spend up half your energy stabilizing your torso. So a lot of people, if you just lay down on an incline on those, you don't have to worry about stabilizing your torso and your core, and can actually just fully fatigue your delts. Then from there, we went to another superset for side delts. We did a traditional kind of like seated lateral raise, supersetted with a lying cable lateral raise. Honestly, it's one of my favorite movements. I don't know why more people don't do them. The bench keeps your body completely stable. And honestly, it's one of those where even though this upsets everybody whenever you say this about dumbbells or cables, the cables are actually just superior for a strength profile, meaning when you're doing a dumbbell lateral raise, it's really only hard at one point of the range of motion, and it's pretty easy the closer the dumbbell gets to your side. So with the cables, you can set them up to the point where there's tension through the entire range of motion, so all the way from the bottom all the way to the top. That in conjunction with your body being so stable, it's just brutal, and it's isolated brutal. I mean, you're training your side delts. You know, it's not a squat, it's not a leg press. It's one very isolated muscle that you're trying to target. So the more you can stabilize and take everything else out of it, the better it's going to work. And then from there, we just finished up with some triceps. So whenever I'm, working with Dallas and his triceps, I'm just always thinking elbow health, and I'm thinking about trying to find stuff that fits well with his body. So again, Dallas has very broad shoulders and just a lot of tissue to work around. So, we talked about with the arms being a good body part for him. A lot of it is just really, if you can just find movements that don't hurt your elbows, it's going to be the best thing for him from a career standpoint, meaning we can keep his elbows extremely healthy so he can beat the crap out of them elsewhere, so he can train chest and back as hard as he wants, which makes sense. Those are the muscle groups he wants to be able to work and tax very hard, and you wouldn't want to have elbow issues from training arms heavier or harder than you necessarily need to. So did a pairing of something that again loads the tricep in a little bit more of a shortened position than more of a lengthened position, both single arm, because it's just easier to line things up for those. And then Dallas did a little superset again with a banded press down and a kind of like an overhead extension on the Smith machine bench, which is another good pairing, kind of the same combo. The bands allow it to kind of line up well for his structure because you can pull the bands apart. A lot of tension in that fully extended position at the elbow, and then paired with something that loads it a little bit more of a lengthened position. That's what we talked about too, both overhead movements for Dallas. Overhead movements are just tough for a lot of guys to actually get in and train their triceps without their shoulders being the limiting factor, being fatiguing, just trying to hold your upper arm in position. So both those movements work well for him, where he can actually feel his triceps and not hurt his elbows or wreck his shoulders. And overall, very good workout. I feel like we got a lot done. We're in here for a while. I'm really sweaty, so that's a good sign. And that's that.